Good evening, everybody. At this time, I want to say welcome to everybody and thank you for coming out. And this time, we're going to start our October meeting, and I'm going to turn the floor over to you, Dr. Rodney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, and good evening, board, as well as everybody who's present with us at the Fannin County Board of Education office, and those folks who are watching us online. I'd like to say good evening to you as well on Rebel TV. To begin tonight's meeting, our second agenda item is the invocation. For that, I'm going to call Lieutenant Darvin Couch from the Fannin County Sheriff's Department up to the front. And we just had a photograph taken just a moment ago. Lieutenant Couch, SRO Division, just received the 3 new SRO vehicles that were previously approved by this board. And so we're happy to show those off, and glad the paper came and got a picture of that. So this is a very nice thing, nice addition to the division there. So as Division Commander, will you lead some invocation?
Yes. Please stand. Kind of let him follow over the country once again today. We thank you for this day that you've given us, Lord. We thank you for watching over us, Lord. We thank you for everything that you let us see and do and be able to do. God, we thank you for the school board meeting that we're attending. We know it's very important. We pray, God, that you just lead and guide them the way you would see fit, that they would do that what would be pleasing unto thee. Lord, we ask that you remember our leaders. We pray for them, that they look to you for leadership, God. So we pray to God that you just watch over our staff, our students, our teachers, everyone that's involved with our students this day and time, Lord, that we live in. We pray, God, just lead and guide them so that we can mold our children the way you'd see fit that would be pleasing unto thee. And God, we ask that you just go with us each and every day as we take steps through life, that we'll be found doing what you have us to do that be pleasing unto thee. God, we ask all these things in your sweet holy name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Lieutenant Couch. One of Lieutenant Couch's school resource officers is Jim Burrell, Deputy Sheriff Jim Burrell. If you'll come to the front and lead us in the pledge, please.
Right. Stand, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deputy Burrell. Mr. Chair, the next item on the agenda is number 4, to approve the consent agenda. It's in 2 parts. Part A is to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, and Part B is to approve the minutes. And these are posted. Mr. Inslee has opened those up, and we'll scroll through. Thank you, Mr. Inslee. Mr. Chair, I recommend approving the consent agenda as presented.
Can the chair have that motion?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you, sir. Board, the next item is the school governance team update. We're going to ask Deputy Superintendent Sarah Riggin if she'll come up in front.
Are you going to do special recognition?
No, sir, that was the photo op.
Okay.
We're good. Okay. Ms. Riggin?
Thank you. Good evening, board. I'll take just a couple of moments to share with you some of the things going on this past month for our SGT meetings. Of course, every team in the district did meet during the month of September. East Fannin met over on September 1st. A lot of things that are going on right now are things such as reviewing their school improvement plans, making sure that they understand what the goals are for the year, things like that. East Fannin, they did do a demo last month of a new program that they've instituted called the Car Rider Pro program, which is being used at parent pickup, which hopefully will help with some congestion. At West Fannin, they did do some sharing of student benchmark data this past month, which was extremely informative. You'll keep scrolling, Mr. Inslee. Let's see, the next meeting that we had was over at Fannin County Middle School. It was an excellent meeting. They did do a lot of discussing their STEM projects and their project-based learning that is going on at the middle school. Something that happened at the high school this past month was a really cool fundraiser request that I wanted to bring to your attention, and it's construction and welding have teamed up to offer some adult education classes that are coming up, which is super cool, that will benefit those programs and also our community as well. I don't know if Mr. Roop has anything he'd like to share about that as well.
I think you nailed it. Just bringing special attention to that. It's just a phenomenal opportunity for our community to have that with the kids and with Mr. Flowers and Mr. Stewart, to be able to, for community members to come in and we teach them. Pretty cool.
Very, very interesting.
That's good.
So let's see, the last meeting of the month was held over at Blue Ridge Elementary. And at Blue Ridge, they did do an update on, or at least approve their current school dress code. And they also, Dr. Hodges got her federal funds budgets all approved by her SGT this past month. So all the SGTs are working very hard, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have about them.
Board? Good?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Reagan. All right, let's take a look at the next item on the agenda. It's number 6, and this is school happenings. And this month's report is going to be from Mr. Mark Young at Fannin County Middle School. Good evening, Mr. Young.
Good evening.
The floor is yours.
Can't tell you what a privilege it is to get to speak to you guys. And I appreciate getting to share great things about our school. We have great students, teachers, faculty, staff. I just can't say enough about the people at Fannin County Middle School and what's going on. There are great things happening there. And I think you can see that when you come by. So I appreciate that. I'm very proud to serve as principal there. Kind of want to go backward just a little bit, wrap up the year. My tenure started in April 1st, you know that. So we'll make sure that we got all these things in, that we're great end of the year and moving into the next year. If you look over in the left, you'll see some things that are happening right here. This is a day when we had CTAE come down, talk to our 8th grade students. And that's what defines Fannin Middle. We're a feeder school for the high school, and we want to give the very best product we can to the high school and send those students prepared for the CTAE program as well as academics. You'll see this picture, and this one's pretty special to me. This young man right here in the middle, his name is Elijah. I'd like to say a special thank you to whomever decided that we could hire these teenage boys to work with us over the summer in custodian.
That would be your board.
I really appreciate that, and it's a great idea. I think our 4 custodians learned more from him than he did from me. So he did a great job. He really did a great job. Over on the right-hand side up at the top, we have our spring plant sale. Mr. Seth Davis is in charge of our greenhouse. Had a phenomenal plant sale, best I've seen. It's hands down. It's a world-class greenhouse. If you haven't seen that in the spring, please come out and see that. Now at the bottom right, you see our young men and women working outside to make our school beautiful over the summer. Doesn't show in that picture, but it was an extremely rainy day that they came out and worked anyway. And down in the bottom right there, you'll see our Reach Scholars from last year. Coming up in about 9 days, we get to name our next batch of Reach Scholars. And I appreciate everybody that contributes to making that happen.
What year is that in place?
That was last school year.
So it's been in place for 3
Oh, the Reach?
years.
I'm not sure how many years.
First class graduated in 2020.
So 5 years. Thank you, Dr. Ransom.
Thank you, appreciate that. This is our theme for the year. It's progress. We're just moving forward. And that's what we always want to be doing. We're looking at the past just to learn from it, but starting at that point and moving forward always. Moving forward, we have lots and lots of new faces in our building. All these folks have come on board this year. Phenomenal batch of teachers, support staff. Some of those people have moved up from one position to another. We've hired from within the county, without the county, but we have strove to find the most qualified candidates we can. And I want you to know that every face up there has a special connection with me. I don't just look at the skills or qualifications, but when we sit in an interview and we talk, we have a connection. And I like to hire people that I can connect with and we can work together as a team. Open house and first day of school. Can't say enough about the excitement. This is one of the best days that I've spent a long, long time. Back to normal. We didn't have to worry about all the procedures that we had in place last year. I really appreciate being able to open up the school, being able to talk to people, being able to have contact with people. There was a great excitement around the school, and that excitement has continued on. And I really appreciate the fact that we were able to open our doors and let our students and parents see the building, tour all the parts of the building, talk to teachers in a way that we didn't get to in the past years. If you look in the center right here, you'll see this is kind of where we're going and the direction of Fannin Middle. Not all classrooms have 4 walls. Our outdoor classroom is not measured by square feet, but it's measured by acres. We're using our entire campus as our outdoor classroom. It's not designated for just one little spot, but we're using the entire campus, and I'll explain that. If you look at the top left, you'll see one of our first scientific research projects, trying to get the students ready for bigger projects in the future. We've created some fly traps, and they observed those things over several days, and we planted these little fly traps all over the school, measuring different places, different substances to attract flies. We have a bee pollinator census we're doing right now. At the bottom, I'd like to say a nice big thank you to all our community support, especially Ace Hardware. Those students are holding gloves. They donated 100 pair of gloves to us so we could use those when we go outdoors. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see the restoration project of our nature trail. I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. You can see these students down here on the nature trail. It's been in existence for a long time, but it's kind of deteriorated. But over the past 9 weeks, we've been restoring that. And these students have been a huge part of that, and it's still underway. This kind of outlines where we are with our nature trail. There's something I'd really like to talk about that's exciting in green. If you look at the yellow path, that was our existing nature trail, and the entrance is now behind the football field. So it's not really conducive to being out in the public. People can't see that. It's a little obscure. So we talked with the students, talked with the teachers, talked with the veterans, I talked with Darren Danner, and we hope to expand our nature trail to over here to start right here around the Veterans House and go along behind the football field and tie that to our veterans. We always, at middle school, want to honor our veterans. We should all do that. But it's going to be kind of our Veterans Memorial Trail. We haven't gotten a name for it yet. We want to put up some memorials along the way and construct that trail. And it's a big project, big undertaking, but we'd like to expand that so it starts to be something for the public to use. Something for our veterans to be able to use, something to be proud of, something that will attract other schools to come to Fannin Middle and see what's going on. The most exciting part about that, and probably the biggest undertaking, there's been talk of trying to make it ADA compliant. We would really like to be able to have a place so our people in wheelchairs, people with disabilities, people with physical problems can be able to get down to the creek and really see what's going on. Now, that's not a year project, that may not even be a 2-year project, but it's certainly something that we're working on. Right now, we have a teacher working with a group of students to learn all about what ADA means and the American with Disabilities Act and how we can become ADA compliant. I plan on speaking to local builders clubs and folks in the community to try my best to entice them to come help us with this project so that we can expand our trail and be able to get not only our seniors, but maybe our pre-K kids and everybody else, anybody that would like to go down and see what kind of research is going on the trail down there. Each grade level is kind of taking a section of the trail, deciding what kind of scientific research they're going to do on that section of the trail. We have some doing native plants, we're cleaning up the trout stream. We have some who are identifying trees, all kinds of great things are going on. And hopefully, starting about next week, we'll have Ms. Jill Lyon to consult with us and come down and help us to get on the right track with that. Our connections, as I said before, we are a feeder school for the high school. We are concentrating on CTAE prep. Our connections classes have been traditional connections, but right now, we're trying our very best to get those students ready for what they need in the high school for CTAE. If you look at the top left, you'll see something you don't see all the time. We're training middle school students to use a hammer. Most of you probably learned to use a hammer at home, but these guys don't always have that skill, so they're learning to use a hammer. Soapbox car being assembled there in the lower right-hand corner. And the right-hand side of the picture, and in the middle, you'll see our health occupations class. Our health occupations class has really taken off. It was one of those things that we wanted to try. We had kids in there for 9 weeks. Had a group of students come to me and say, hey, we really like what's going on. Can we stay another 9 weeks? Typically, our connections classes last 9 weeks. And we changed to other connections classes. some of our 8th grade students said, this may be something I would like to do. And they wanted to stay another 9 weeks. So I obliged them. And we have a group of students who are going to stay for another 9 weeks and do a full semester so they can go a little deeper and get prepared for the great host of programs that we have at Dr. Ramsey School in the high school. You see there in the middle at the bottom, this is some produce that was grown on the grounds of the middle school, and our chickens and our ducks. We do not have a picture of business administration up there, but we do have Mr. Johnny Ridge, who's doing our business administration class. We're working on entrepreneurship in there, and it's going well as well. Our PBIS, we're positive not only with the students, but with the faculty. Miss Cindy Newton is there on top right-hand corner. She's just won a cake. We draw for a cake every month. Miss Tara Contardi graces us with one of our cakes. If you haven't had a cake from Tara Contardi, you guys need to check into that because they're really great. Banana pudding cake's the best. You need to try that. And this is our Bravo board there in the middle. If a teacher has something they want to brag on somebody for, they fill out that piece of paper. It goes up on the board for everybody to see. So not only are we positive with the kids, we're positive with each other. Up in the top left, we see some very dedicated ladies who do snow cone and popcorn for our students every month. The kids trade in their rebel passes for that. We got fall athletics under the way. On the top right, we have our cross country team. Seems like every time they go somewhere, they're bringing home a trophy. And I'm very proud of them for that. We thankful to our elementary schools for having running clubs. We get these guys prepared for that. But we are competing somewhere in South Georgia this weekend. Our varsity team is going to compete yet again, and we won some big high place finishers just this week. And our cross country team, they're phenomenal. So we've got a great group of runners. You see our cheerleaders in the bottom right, down in the bottom. You see our student athletes in the month right there. We just finished up softball season. Our volleyball team over here on the bottom left, undefeated. Our varsity team is undefeated again. If you haven't seen our volleyball team play, you need to see it. They're phenomenal. The season's over now. But we have a phenomenal volleyball team. Football right now is underway. Currently, we are beating Dawson 14-0. Just want you to know that. In the first round of the playoffs in the 8th grade. Just want everybody to know that. Other things that are going on, we have a great ag department. You'll see that we have several students that are showing animals. And quite frankly, I can't keep up with all the things that are going on in our school. But we have animals are being shown, people competing in all kinds of agriculture competitions, again, preparing them for the high school. You see our soapbox derby cars right there at the bottom. Soapbox derby not sponsored by the school, but it took place at our school where we certainly competed. And had some cars in that. Maker space at the top right-hand corner. And our boat vending machine. We appreciate that little picture of that. All our schools got one of those thanks to the L4GA. Last but not least, I want to finish up with this. I want to tell you how much I really appreciate the fact that Fannin County has a SPLOST Act. Although it doesn't buy lots of things for us, it pays for lots of things. I'll tell you what it pays for me. It pays for peace of mind. There are several projects and things that get taken care of that I don't have to worry about. I can focus on instruction and education when I don't have to worry about whether the roof is leaking, whether the parking lot needs to be retopped, or I don't have to worry about the materials. It really frees me up to focus on education. So I appreciate the citizens of Fannin County and our school board for continuing this SPLOST, and hope it continues on the path of this school. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Comment. I'm not surprised that we have a graduation rate of something like 97%. With this kind of activity going on, it has to increase the attendance of students, I suspect. I think the interest that these stir up are probably a tremendous asset. Happy kids learn this. That's the way I look at it. I think all these activities, a lot of people would frown on this. So you're supposed to be studying to read, writing, and arithmetic. Part of life. And I think it's great.
Many of our students are discovering the outdoors. want you to understand that and what it's like to use garden tools and get down pile brush, things like that, and they're enjoying it. It's not a chore. When I was a kid, it was a chore. But I'll be honest with you, they're enjoying it. And we appreciate the opportunity to do that. Any more questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well done. Thank you, Mr. Young. We appreciate that. Okay, next up is number 7. Georgia Accreditation Commission recently visited, and Mr. Roof's going to give us an update on their visit.
Absolutely. Good evening, board. Last board meeting, as we remember, all the principals were issued a certificate from the Georgia Accrediting Commission, and our school system was also issued a certificate that showed that we were accredited with quality. And so those certificates were the last of the breed. It came through from our last 5-year accreditation period. So since that time, on October 5th and 6th, each of our schools had their on-site GAC, Georgia Accrediting Commission, accrediting visit. Again, that happens every 5 years. With this on-site visit, all 5 schools, again, received accredited with quality status. This is the top level that you can't go any higher. So this is essentially gold medal status when it comes to Georgia Accrediting Commission. Because all 5 schools were given that accredited with quality status, this also means that our school system remains accredited with quality, which again is the highest that you can go. The Georgia Accrediting Commission assesses and analyzes a school and a school system based on the following categories from pre-K all the way through 12th grade: personnel, organization, programs of study, media center, finances, and physical plant, which is facilities, maintenance, safety, so on and so forth. So with that said, with the fact that we now will be accredited with quality for another 5 years, I want to give a big thank you, first off, to our principals, our assistant principals, our academic coaches for all their hard work, for preparing for this visit, and also being able to articulate to the Georgia Accrediting Commission all the wonderful things that are going on in Fannin County. So thank you, principals that are here. We really do appreciate it. It was not possible without you guys. I also want to give a thank you to the superintendents and directors. If you just listened again to that list that I gave, personnel, organization, programs of study, that's curriculum, media center, finances, maintenance and safety. That touches on every single one of our directors and superintendents and all that they do to help. So thank you to everybody there too. And to each of you board members. You help provide us with what we need from all angles so that this type of accreditation can happen, so that it can be possible. So I want to say thank you to you as well. And then finally, to our teachers, media center specialists, paraprofessionals, and all school employees. Our principals being able to go into the room with the commission and have the conversations they had and come out with success. It wouldn't be possible without the work that our teachers do every single day and our parapros do every single day in the classroom for our kids. So I want to stand here and say thank you to them as well. So I love being able to stand here and give all this kind of good news. Just say thank you.
Good job. And I give you the credit on the leadership of that, Mr. Roof, overseeing that visit. So, thank you. Board, any questions about that visit? We're glad that that's out of the way and was as successful as it was. All right, the next item is the district health update, number 8. It's still yours, Mr. Roof.
Absolutely. So again, right now we did very fortunately have a pretty significant lull in our COVID-19 reported data. That too there, that was the week, where, let's see, the week right after fall break. We do have, we are going to see, when the data gets posted tomorrow, a little bit of an uptick compared to last week, but nothing as substantial as where we were 5 weeks ago. So we are still seeing a decline compared to 4 or 5 weeks ago when it comes to our school system COVID-19 data, and of course, extremely thankful for that. When it comes to the local data, Fannin County data, same thing. If we look at that graph that we've been pulling up every board meeting, right now, our 7-day average is 6. 6 confirmed cases. That's our 7-day average. That's the thing to look at. Again, looking at the, not necessarily focusing on the bars, but focusing on the red line that goes across the graph. That is a very significant downturn compared to going where Mr. Inslee's going there. The table's not catching up, but I believe our highest 7-day average at that point was 24 positive cases. And so, again, right now, very thankful that we are experiencing a downturn, but as we know, it's day by day. As we've presented each month, it's still a day by day situation with what's going on with COVID-19 and the data there. I also talking with the hospital, they same trend have seen a downturn in what they're dealing with at the hospital compared to 4 or 5 weeks ago. But of course, still COVID-19 is a major influencer and having a major impact on what's going on at our local hospitals too.
Any questions from Mr. Root there? All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, next up, I'll ask Ms. Reagan to come back up to the podium. And for the central office update this month, Ms. Reagan is going to talk to you about a leadership development program, an FCSS Aspiring Leaders Program she's working on. Ms. Reagan?
Good evening, Board. I'm extremely excited tonight to get to share with you a program that will be launched starting tomorrow in the Fannin County School System. The name of the program is the Fannin County Schools Aspiring Leaders Program. If you'll scroll up, Mr. Inslee. Let's first take a step back in history about leadership in Fannin County. Since 2017, we have been methodically trying to work and build the capacity of leaders who are already employed within our district. From 2017 through 18, we did work on the strength of our principals. We implemented something called the Principal Consortia. The next 2 years, from 19 and 20 and the 2021, we have been working with our assistant principals. So people who are already identified as leaders in our district, working to make sure that they are the absolute strongest leader that we could possibly have. So then we are ready now to move to the next challenge. And that next challenge is moving into the next phase, which is identifying people who have leadership potential to help them be ready when we do have openings in our school system. As you can see by looking around, leadership is aging, and so it's extremely important.
Boy, Ms. Reagan.
Wow. I know it. But it is the truth. And so it's...
Hey, sister, what do you think about that?
I know. Yeah, exactly. So it's extremely important that we are prepared for the next wave, because we do need to make sure we've got people who are ready to go. Back several years ago, the Georgia PSC, they had a rule change which really made the pool of candidates very shallow. And that rule change made it so that teachers were very hesitant to invest their money into a degree that they may never be paid for. And so, unfortunately, that decision made at the Georgia PSC has begun to impact local districts. And so tonight we're coming to you with a solution. And that solution is our Aspiring Leaders Program. So, beginning tomorrow, through a competitive application process and a rigorous interview process, our school district will begin to identify potential future leaders in our district. Certified employees who apply and are selected for the Aspiring Leaders Program will be enrolled in a leadership certification program offered through the University of North Georgia, with the district paying for their courses using Title IIA funds. Satisfactory completion of these required courses through the University of North Georgia, which will also include a practicum and also passing 2 GACE assessments, will satisfy the requirements for these individuals to have a leadership certification. To be eligible to apply for the Aspiring Leaders Program, the following criteria must be met. One is the individual must already hold a master's degree or higher and have a GAPSC issued certificate. On that master's degree, they must have had at least a 3.25 GPA. They must have been our employee with successful teaching experience 3 years or more. And of course, they have to be our employee. So what does the program look like? I'm sure our employees are starting to wonder that right now if they're watching this evening. The program looks like this. There are 6 courses. 2 courses would be taken each semester for 3 semesters. All of these courses are going to be offered in an online format, and they will all be through a cohort model, meaning that our people will be in a class of about 35 others from other districts. So the class size will probably be about 35 people in that class. So 6 classes, 2 per semester, 3 semesters to be completed, okay? In addition to those requirements, the aspiring leader must also pass the GACE ethics and GACE leadership assessments to be eligible for the leadership add-on through the Georgia PSC. The district will pay for the UNG courses, and we're going to provide a substitute teacher for that teacher 1 day per month for the entire 22-23 school year, so that that aspiring leader can work in real leadership experiences at their campus and work to satisfy that practicum requirement. They do have a very lengthy practicum that is required. So you may be wondering, how do I apply? So the application will launch tomorrow, October 15th, 2021, and it will be found in Frontline. It is only available to internal candidates. We are not interested in putting other people's employees through our Aspiring Leaders program. The application includes a biographical section followed by 3 writing prompts, which will be scored. All applicants must have at least 2 professional references to complete their application. Now, what is the timeline? The application window is fairly lengthy, so if anybody needs to think on it, they've got time. Application window opens tomorrow, October 15th, and it runs through January 28th. The first round of interviews will be in early to mid-February, and the final round of interviews will be mid to late February. We will name our aspiring leaders on February 25th, on or before that date. The UNG classes, if selected, will begin in summer of 2022, and the classes will end in the spring of 2023. So we would actually, these folks are going to start school this summer, getting certified to become leaders in our district. So we're extremely excited about this opportunity to help others out that may be interested in leadership, because we know that this is an area that we need to make sure we're ready for when it's time. So does anybody have any questions? Yes, Mr. Beard.
I didn't hear anywhere in there where you put a number on, we can only take 20, we can only take 30.
Because
it depends on
the quality of the applicants. Absolutely. And so we are extremely interested in helping to support our employees that may feel like this is the direction they want to go in. It will be extremely competitive. Obviously, we're investing. We are pouring into people to help them get the certification. And so we want to make sure that the best people for those jobs are the people that we identify, and then we're going to work to nurture them and support them. So when the time comes, we will be ready, and they'll be ready to apply. This does not guarantee them a job, by the way, but it makes it so that they are certified so that they can apply when jobs do come open. Yes, Mr. DeWeese?
Have any of y'all had the opportunity to experience any of this other than the help of your cohorts? Most of you came from the classroom to principals to leadership with no other than your online.
We had some come through the Assistant Principals Academy and the Principals Consortium, but
Right.
we have current principals who went through the Assistant Principals Academy.
Absolutely, and like people who were already identified also got some additional support, whether it was through RESA or here. But like if you're asking about if any of us went through a non-traditional leadership add-on, most of us did go to school and we paid and we went out our own pocket. Mr. Rick, did you do non-traditional? Okay, awesome.
Probably Ms. Miller, did you do non-traditional?
Okay, leadership add-on. Okay, awesome.
Around anybody else?
Okay, it really is helpful for people that are interested because it's extremely expensive in the way the PSC has it set up right now. If you are not employed in the area where that certification is being used, then you are not paid on that highest degree. And so right now there's a certain amount of financial risk that an individual would be taking on to go ahead and get that leadership certification, because potentially you have invested in something that you would could never be employed to do. And so this is a fantastic win, not just for our employee, it's a win for us as well.
So just to be devil's advocate here,
Okay.
so been in a lot of different programs and people get in the middle of it and decide this ain't for me. So a DOR, what does that look like if they drop out?
If they drop out, it's totally fine. I mean, they could end up dropping out of the program. I would hope that we will have ongoing assistance, technical assistance for the ones that are in the program. We will not just be paying the bills. There will be other things that happen throughout. Ms. Heather Finley and I will both be working with the people who are identified and placed into this program. She is the Title IIA manager, and so it's her program that would be purchasing and paying for their college experience, their certification experience. And so she would be a part of the management of it, and I would also, as personnel, trying to help pour into. And so it wouldn't be that they would not be allowed to drop out, but we certainly will do everything in our power to make sure that they stay in that program, unless they just decide, oh no, this is not for me. And then we absolutely would encourage them to drop out, because there's nothing worse than if somebody feels that it's not laid on their heart, then they need to act on that. Yeah, so we would be fine with that.
One of my favorite kids, Mr. Quatney's always been there. He has a job description, but really there is no job description for his position. And someone from the outside looking in might feel the same way when I moved into leadership.
The walls, the biggest change is the walls change, because when you're a classroom teacher, you've got your 4 walls. When you're a principal, you've got a ton of walls, because your 4 walls just went the outside walls. And so with each level, it truly changes what your level of ownership is. And that can be eye-opening to folks who have been mostly concerned about the 4 walls that they could physically touch. There's a lot that goes into leadership. Mr. Bramlett?
I'm so pleased to hear about the program. Effective succession planning is such a critical part of any successful organization, particularly one that is ongoing, where we do not have lapses of leadership where someone has to play catch up. This is exciting and will serve us so well moving forward. Thank you for shepherding the initiative.
You are most welcome. We're excited. So, thank you.
So Dave, hang on, Mr. Rick. Any other questions for Mr. Rick? He's ready to go. It's because we're all sensitive to that comment.
I know, I may have to take a couple of days off.
Any others? Okay, that's well done. Is there anything on the memo that wasn't covered in the presentation?
No, it's exactly the same thing. The memo, it mimics the presentation itself.
Okay, very good. All right, well done, Mr. Regan. Thank you. We're excited about that. That's the future right there for the district. So those teachers who are watching, I'm thinking you're right. They're probably going to be going in, assembly, looking at this, and checking frontline along.
Absolutely.
Mr. Danner, number 10, public comment.
We have one public comment, Ms. Tiffany Quinn, regarding football and cheerleaders at the middle school.
Okay, Mr. Danner, did Ms. Quinn see the rules?
Yes, ma'am. You're very kind.
Okay. Ms. Quinn, good evening. Yes, ma'am. Come up to the front, please. Good evening.
Hello.
All right, and wait just one moment. Mr. Ensley will start a timer for you. You got 5 minutes.
Okay. My name is Tiffany Quinn. It's nice to see a few familiar faces. Some of you may know me by Tiffany Cole. I'm having some neurological issues going on, so I wrote something so I wouldn't forget anything. I'm the older sister of Paul Cole. He goes by PJ. He currently attends Fannin County Middle School. This year he's in 8th grade. Tonight I'm speaking on his behalf. He has always been in trouble as well as low grades, so my family decided to sign him up for football as an outlet. Back in late April, early May, he tried out and made the team. Everyone was excited. He spent his entire summer going back and forth to practice. He missed vacations, birthday parties, even hanging out with friends like a normal teen. He chose to put football first, as did everyone. Our mom actually switched jobs to accommodate his needs. We're here tonight because a month ago, my mom got a call from Mr. Young saying they confiscated his phone that morning and they had to remove him from the team. After some digging, they found out that he was failing classes from spring semester. I was concerned, so I called the board and spoke with someone. I quickly briefed her on the entire situation, to which she said she was unsure, let her call a few people, and she would get back with me. She explained certain sports fall on semester grades. Football falls back on spring grades, and he didn't do well for those. She also stated for the inconvenience that we would be reimbursed for football. After looking and adding everything up, we came to the conclusion that my brother spent over 140 hours. They spent over $500 and put over 600 miles on their vehicle for the 5 months that he participated. They had done everything to help him. We have tried to be reimbursed, bringing the conversation up a few times, and nothing has been done. When my brother went to the field house to get his football gear, some of the mandatory pieces, cleats, and I think it was his gloves, they're gone. We already know that academics come before sports. Everyone we have spoke with just keeps telling us we can't bend the rules. We can't allow him on the team. If we do it for him, we have to do it for everyone. We're not asking for that. We already realized that if he was put back on the team, we feel like he would be punished. The morning after the call, I went to get my brother's phone. While I was there waiting, three female students came in on game day wearing their cheerleading outfits. They were pulling those skirts down and walking funny. A teacher approached them asking if they were okay. They proceeded to tell her how uncomfortable they feel wearing miniskirts to school. And even though they addressed their concerns with the coach, they were told it was mandatory on game day. Why was it that my brother spent 5 months participating in practice, weight training, scrimmages, and even a few games, who had 5 months to check grades but didn't do so? This shouldn't happen to him or anyone. Now he's being bullied for getting kicked off the team because he couldn't pass grades. Fannin County is supposed to be a no bully. It's not supposed to be tolerated, but how far does it have to go before that policy is implemented? So much time and effort is put into A+ students and how much they can accomplish. I know, I have an A+ student. And so much time is put into star athletes who can bring money to the school system. And I know, I also have star athletes who go to the middle school. But what's being done for the students who show out? They get detention. Or if they have failing grades, it's ISS. Nobody looks into what can we do better for them. So here I am questioning why no one can refund us or simply give us information on what needs to be done to get that. As well as why no one can bend the rules to allow him to play football, but everyone in the school system is okay with bending the rules for these girls to wear miniskirts to school, even when they feel uncomfortable. I have also contacted a few other people. I was failed by this school system, and I won't sit quietly and let it happen to my brother or my children. I won't. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mr. Fannin, is there any other public comment?
No, sir, that's it.
Okay. The next agenda item is yours.
Good evening, board. I'm not going to talk a whole lot. I'm just going to let the pictures speak for themselves. Go ahead, Mr. Hensley. This is the final striping project at the East Fannin. We got the pavement done, and then this happened actually, I think, after school started. The contractor couldn't get here, so we got that completed there at East. And what's that? Middle school. We had one person bid on some lockers at the middle school, so that's one half of them. So me and a couple of maintenance guys, we actually had a blast to get rid of that stuff. So anyway, that's the end product there at the middle school. One of the locker rooms there. So really not a lot going on with facilities. There are a couple of minor things, but again, cannot keep up. Which brings us to a construction update. Again, cannot keep up. Denise and I, we tried to go through and sort everything. The first several pictures is the the bus garage side of the property. And this is actually where go ahead, Mr. Hensley. That's where the fueling station is going to be. Notice in the background is the old Woody's. I don't know how, all I know it is Woody's. So again, that gives you a place there. Retention pond, that's the transportation bus pad to the right in the back. Again, these pictures are 3 or 4 weeks old. That's gonna be the entrance there. Again, that's the other building up there on top beside, what's another name for that? I don't know what-
Earls, maybe?
Earls,
The
okay.
old Earls?
I don't know what Earls is. All I know is Willis. But, dig on there.
This Dawes may have other names for it. Out at the Big T.
That's, if you've not been by lately, that's going to be the bus entrance. There off of 76. Again, there's 2 entrances to the transportation side. And that was going to be, so again, they've actually got it to grade today. Insulation there for transportation facility. There's the entrance there. Woody's is behind you, looking back into where the fueling station is going to be. Go ahead, Mr. Nancy. I'm just going to let the pictures do. And I don't have an updated picture as of today, but actually, while Mr. Ainsley is scrolling, the roofing come in for the transportation. Actually, today while I was there, big semi come in, and so again, they will actually start.
Did they park by Woody's?
They did not park by Woody's. They did not park by Woody's. It's actually going to be a tremendous facility whenever it gets completed. It actually should be start laying CMU next week. Should be painting all the steel before the roof goes up. Again, now this is the staff development center side. Trying to give you 4 different views there of the facility. Of course, the entrance, if you went by today, that definitely does not look anything like that.
They made significant progress.
Major progress. The decking has been put on the tall roof. I mean, you can really see the interior now. All the exterior walls have been put up. That'll be coming in next week. And we'll interject some things there when we talk about local core training here shortly. So again, very excited about our staff development center, and can't wait till you get a bird's eye view of it in a couple of weeks. And that's actually was at the bus garage looking, or the transportation facility looking back towards the staff development center. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just let pictures, let pictures.
I
just
find
speak
myself
for
taking the old road every chance I can.
I've been by it 3 times today.
I honestly, I do try to go at least twice a day, in the morning and then late afternoon, because there is so much that's happening between, 5 and 6 hours of time. And they actually started putting the EPDM roof on the staff development center today. So again, the roof should be done hopefully by mid next week. And again, the roofing for the transportation will start going up next week, as well as the CMU. So again, it's coming on. It's coming on.
Board, do you have any questions about either of those updates?
I got a comment.
Yes, sir.
My wife and I were by there yesterday, and I was in one vehicle and her in the other. She was driving, well, I was driving back, she was riding with me. She said, there's a little park across from there. She said, "Did you see that big tree falling in the park over there?" I said, "Oh, I was looking at that." Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
The roofing it's metal, right?
On one section of the staff development center, yes. On the other section that's flat, it's the same roof that we got on our schools. 90 mil EPDM. 90 mil is unheard of. Typically roofs are 45 mil. Of course, that's the thickness of the roof. And I take that back to Mr. Shimpall when he was here. Very fortunate in having the money to put 90 mil on our roofs. So we're set on our schools for a while. Of course, there's going to be leaks, but it's not going to be massive that we have. And of course, I know the principal's going, we had a leak last week. You're going to have roofs. You're going to have leaks, but again, not any major things that we have.
Any other? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Danner. So the next one is yours, and this is an approval, number 13.
Yes, sir. A couple months ago, I asked you for permission to pursue a CM at risk for 3 projects. One of them is a high school HVAC, middle school HVAC, and then plumbing at the high school. I remember last winter, I think it was, we had a major problem up at the high school. E-hall started flooding, teacher in classroom, and water just started coming out of the floor. And what should have been an abandoned water line when E-hall was built was never abandoned. So again, we've done a Band-Aid fix on it. So it's time now to actually fix those things. The HVAC at the high school is well over 10 years old. Anybody who knows HVAC and that type of system, it's time to do that. Same thing with the middle school, and then the plumbing. This will be used with our CARES money. We're not hurt. Our pocketbook, so to speak, has already been approved for the budget. And so again, we put this out to bid. We had one company to actually pursue this. And that one company is our current CM at risk on our transportation facility and our staff development center. Personally, I can't say anything but good things about that. So the decision was very easy for me and the committee. We only had one bid, and we've had good success with them so far. So I'm asking for approval to name Bowen and Watson CM at risk for these 3 projects that will start this coming summer. We've got to get that action going to get everything ready to go. So school's out, we can start, so we can get back in session with all these things going on.
Board have any questions about this for either Mr. Danner or Ms. Goss? Mr. Chair, recommend approval as presented.
Will the chair have that motion?
So moved.
You have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Danner. Item 14, Ms. Finley, technology property as salvage.
I just have 2 really small requests for you. We had some items from Blue Ridge and the high school that were previously declared as surplus, but we really needed to salvage them. One was 3 items from Blue Ridge Elementary, which were smart boards, and the second was a laptop that was not in the best condition to sell from the high school, and so we'll end up salvaging those. So just those few items.
Okay, and this is an administrative correction because you inventory everything in and out, and you keep track of how it's just, the disposition of the items. So, ask for approval as presented, Mr. Chair.
Chair have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Finley.
I will say we finished our surplus sales Monday, and we made $32,000 on our stuff.
How much?
So 32,000.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 32,000. Yes. So thank
Well
you to
done.
my techs for managing all that. They do a great job.
Thank you, Ms. Finley. All right, Mr. Root, back up to the podium, number 15, CTAE equipment.
Yes, sir. Good evening again. So, this is coming to you for the purpose of this memorandum is to request Fannin County Board of Education approval for policy DJED for the purchase of a plasma cutter for the Fannin County High School CTAE department. 3 plasma cutter quotes were collected and analyzed per policy DJED. If approved by the board, we've chosen to go with this specific plasma cutter here, a plasma cutting table that will be purchased with SPLOST funds from Redmond & Son for the amount of $31,000. We did choose to go with Redmond. All of the prices were very close, but we have we've used this company before and with great quality, and we just had really good success with anything that we've received from this company. Plus, it is a Georgia company, and we do receive any type of training, any type of questions that we ever need from that company when it comes to their products. I do have in here just a simple statement about the plasma cutting. It is a major technique in the welding industry. Really, it can be a game changer for what happens in that classroom. This plasma cutter will provide students within the welding pathway, the carpentry pathway, fine furniture pathway, and the engineering pathway with hands-on training that will improve their employability skills and career capabilities. This plasma cutter will also allow the welding program to meet required classroom instructional standards through CNC plasma cutting or computer numerical control plasma cutting and manual plasma cutting. So the fact that it'll do both is really incredible. CNC has that robotic, the computer science robotic approach to it, where the students can even embed algebra, geometry, and even calculus standards if they would ever choose to do so or like to do so in what they're doing in those classes. So really can be a game changer not only for welding but also the other pathways mentioned there. And again, just asking for your approval to make that purchase.
This is going to be a game changer for that department.
Do any other systems in that area have?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm fairly certain that one of our neighboring systems has a welding department with a plasma cutter.
I got that over a torch is just like a Cadillac over a Volkswagen.
Yes, sir. But again, they still, Mr. Flowers still has to do everything that he does with the torch as well to meet his standards. This is just another way for him to meet other standards in his classroom.
Mr. Chair, recommend approval as presented.
I'd like to make that motion.
I'd like to say.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Griffin.
Excellent.
Get that thing ordered. I'm looking forward to seeing what they produce.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Wynn, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Wonderful Board.
Financial report.
We have our financial report for August 31st. We're at 16.66% complete for the fiscal year. Our local revenue sources are at 5.49% versus 5.19% the prior year. Our total revenues are at 9.73% versus 9.71% for our prior year. Our total expenditures are at 14.74% versus 15.04% for the prior year. And as our new statements, it shows our open POs or encumbrances of $19,485. And that is the general fund. And then we can scroll to the other statements, the capital projects, and for 2 months complete, and open encumbrances, and then our special revenues. And then next we have our school nutrition. And that is the financial statements.
I appreciate the additional detail that you've been gradually adding to these reports. Thank you. It's extra work, but it's good data. Thank you. Make that recommendation to pass this as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Chair, have that motion.
Motion to approve the financial report as presented.
Is there a second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. Ms. Wynn, tell us about SPLOST.
SPLOST. So for this month, we have collections of $710,868.61. And granted, it does say that's a negative 32.4% growth, but that is because comparing to August, that 1,051,000, we actually had 654,581 of a normal collection for that month, but that was the catch up where they had given us the other. So we had
discovered an error.
We had positive,
right. Yeah.
We had positive growth.
Absolutely.
And that's a good collection. It may not even be as much as the last 2 months, but that's still a huge good
Yes, it is. Yeah. We're thankful.
We're thankful.
All right. Any other thoughts on the spot other than we're thankful? All right. Thank you, Ms. Wynn. We appreciate your attention to detail. All right, Ms. Rigdon, back up to the podium.
Okay, so this evening I'm coming to you to ask for approval of the policy JBCA, which affects resident students. This policy change, proposed change, has been on the table now since last month's meeting. There has been zero public input into it. And so, Mr. Inslee, we'll scroll down. The only thing that is actually changing in this are just the words, school year is being substituted for semester. Previously, we required that students, if they moved within the school year, that as soon as the semester ended, that they would have to go to their resident school. This allows the flexibility, with your approval, for a student to stay in their school until the end of the year, so that at that time, if they wanted to apply for school lottery, that they could do so that the student would not have to actually change schools. And so I would recommend and ask that you update this policy for our students' benefit.
Thank you, Ms. Regan. Board, this is a common sense that benefits the child, and so make that recommendation pass as presented.
Can the chair have that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Regan. Thank you. And the next item is also your local board training. Tell us about we get to go out and see in real time.
I know, this is extremely exciting. So we do have local board training coming up on October 26th, which is a Tuesday, in just a couple of weeks. It will be a 6-hour training, so at 7:30 that morning we will begin, and you'll be beginning the day here at the Board of Education. Mr. Darren Danner will be the absolute star for the morning. We will be discussing facilities and facilities planning. The focus for the morning part of our session will be kind of dreaming, thinking about that land acquisition that we just had recently, and thinking about what it means for Fannin County school students for the next generation and generations beyond. You'll actually be going out to the property. We are currently locating vehicles that we don't mind getting out there in that facility, because of course it has not been developed at this point. And so you'll actually be out seeing what there is to see and thinking about all the possibilities for what could be out there in the future for our kids, which is extremely exciting. Yeah. After we're finished with that portion of the morning, then we will be moving to the two current building projects in Fannin County Schools, the transportation facility and also the staff development facility. You'll be taking tours of those, and you'll have an opportunity to have some question and answer as well as we walk through. As we finish that part of the day, we will transition to Fannin County Middle School, where we'll be served a fantastic lunch by the Director of Nutrition and the Fannin County Middle School cafeteria staff. And so we will be eating at Fannin County Middle. The last couple hours of the day will be spent observing at Fannin County Middle School. We will be having a focus on looking at those new exploratory classes that have been added this year. As you will recall, as part of our CARES 3 or ARC budget, we did fund 6 teachers at Fannin County Middle School who are the exploratory teachers. And so we will be getting into those classrooms to see what's going on. And also Mr. Young has got a lot of things that he would like to highlight at his school and show off. And so it should be a fantastic day. As I said, it'll be about 7:30 to about 2:30. And so we're just working on the logistics right now of how we'll move you from place to place. Okay, so rain date is the 28th. So the 26th is our date. But if it is horrendous, we will then move it to the 28th, which is that Thursday. And so, because a lot of your day will be spent in the great outdoors.
And Krista, we hope you can join us. Probably yes. Mm-hmm. So I was out there today with Mr. Danner, and it gives you a different perspective when you can go to the middle of it and look around.
Dr. Watley, remind them, do not wear flip-flops that
day. Sir? Okay. All right. Anybody else? Number 19, local board training.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Chair, recommend executive session for the purpose of personnel, real estate, and student information.
Can the chair have a motion to go into executive session?
You have that motion.
Second. All in favor?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And I'd like to ask if we approve the minutes from our September 9th, 2021 executive session at this time. So
You have that motion?
Second.
all in favor? And I'll turn the floor back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board, if we could open up the personnel sheet dated October 14th, 21. We'll make sure everybody's good to go. You good?
I've got it.
I'll look on it.
I have yours, Mr. Mayor. This one.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's just kind of a struggle. I use these and kind of. All right, resignations. Roxanne Flowers, teacher, effective date 9/15/21. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Resignation, Renita Staten, substitute nutrition, effective date 9/16/2021. Make that recommendation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Recommendation of resignation, Erica Ballantine, nutrition, effective date 10/4/21. Make that recommendation.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Resignation of Donna Sexton, teacher, effective date 10/17/21. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Jordan Harris, recommendation for resignation as secretary, effective date 11/26/21. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, and Shannon Fleeman, teacher, resigning effective date 1/1/2022. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right. How you doing, Mark?
Got it.
Martha, if we have one that's September, I'll let you know. So just
All right. Recommendations, and all of these are pending completion of paperwork and background check. Amanda McBride is a teacher, and I'm going to throw the caveat in that she is currently employed by, she's been released from her contract, but the Union County Board of Education hasn't taken formal action on that yet because their meeting date is later this month. So I'm making the recommendation of Amanda McBride as a teacher pending related action by Union County Board of Education to formally accept her resignation. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you. William Sam Banks, Transportation, make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, Thomas Dilbeck, Teacher and Transportation, make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, the next three are teachers, and if nobody objects, I can take them together. Jacob Reese, Barbara Foley, and Nancy Custer, make that recommendation of those three together as teachers.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, and Melissa Barker, Nutrition, effective date November 1st, 2021, make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you. We have one transfer to talk about, and I'm going to ask Ms. Rigdon, Jenny Garland, interventionist
Yes,
coordinator. Go ahead.
Yes, that is correct. Jeannie Garland is currently a teacher at Fannin County Middle School, and like the other schools last month that recommended transfers into the position of intervention coordinator, Mr. Young has recommended that she be transferred from regular classroom teacher into the intervention coordinator position. She would actually begin that job after a suitable replacement is found for her classroom. So she will not be beginning this job tomorrow, but that job or a similar job will be posted tomorrow.
Okay, make that recommendation and transfer, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you. The next are substitute teachers. Again, all of these are pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training. Amy Cochran, Christy Cook, Leslie Lindsay, Amy Marson, Tracy Ridings, Liza Summers, and David Yancey. Make that recommendation together, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you. Recommendation for substitute in the nutrition department pending completion of paperwork and background check and training, Mackenzie Dale. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, look for that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
And recommendation for substitute transportation pending completion of paperwork and background check, David Yancey. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
And recommendation of substitute mechanic for transportation pending completion of paperwork and background check, William Sam Banks. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Chair, have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
And that is personnel. How you doing? No problem. Thank you. Next up is comments, and I would like to, first I'd like to give a special shout out to CTAE. We had the Georgia Ag Day experience come through since the last meeting, and that was really neat. And seeing the kids come through, and we appreciate. I know Mr. Bramlett helped kind of make that happen, and we appreciate that. And I know that some of y'all were able to get to that with us, and that was a great experience. So thank you for that. Teacher of the Year program has occurred, and I'd like to give a special shout out to Blue Ridge Elementary School's media specialist, Chris Parker, who is the Fannin County School System Teacher of the Year. That was a wonderful program at the Ag Center, and Robert Isley kind of coordinate it, and he did a fantastic job with that. Mark, your school happened. Where'd you go, Mark? Where are you? Over there in the corner. I enjoyed your presentation, Mark. Thank you. Mr. Roof and the principals, great job on the accreditation. We'll reap the benefit of that for the next 5 years. And so thank you. Mrs. Rigby, leadership development. That's great. That's incredible. Looking forward to that, and I probably several others are too. That is something that is needed. When that change was made to stop the practice of that incentive by paying on highest certification overall instead of now it's highest in-field certification, our leadership pool started to dry up that day. And this is something, and that's not just here, that's the state of Georgia. And that was, in my opinion, too much medicine for another problem that they were trying to solve, that they did solve, but they inadvertently took this with it. And I have certainly expressed my opinion to the relevant parties on that, and I encourage all other leaders to do the same too, because that does directly impact our profession, that particular practice. But this is something that will work for everybody in this instance, and be able to do it homegrown is even better. So, Mr. Danner, enjoyed your, where is he? There he is. Enjoyed your updates today, as always, and the visits, like out of the facility last week. I'm just amazed every time I go by it how quickly it's progressing. Thankful for that. Looking forward to the local board training next week. And I got to do something that's one of my favorite things to do all year long. Last week, Ms. Miller's over pre-K, and last week was Georgia Pre-K Week, and I got to find pre-K at East, West, and Blue Ridge, and I thoroughly enjoyed my visit to all three of those, getting to spend time reading to the pre-K kids. Let me tell you something, that's what life's all about right there. And that's awesome. The program did a great job. So thankful for that opportunity. Reach, Lucas, you want to tell us a little bit about that coming up on October 27th at 9 a.m.?
It's coming up on October 27th.
There you go.
It'll be at the middle school as normal.
That's pretty good for after 9 p.m.
I feel like I nailed it.
It's past my bedtime, so that's good.
But we're excited about it, and we will give people, of course, all the credit they deserve at the ceremony, but Denise worked so hard, and Vanessa Weaver at the middle school, and then Chandra English, the new counselor at the middle school, have all worked extremely hard to get to the point we're at now, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, isn't he good? I throw something at him, he wasn't expecting that, so what does he do? He inserts a little bit of humor, he thinks about it while y'all are laughing, and he comes out with something. He's just really good. He's learning all those ninja secrets at University of Georgia that they teach. Go Dogs. And then today, Lucas is bringing me the Georgia Youth Science and Technology Center. How cool is it when you get their little annual thing right here, and you open it up, and boom, here's one of Fannin County's teachers right here being recognized, Kim Patterson, in this. So I'm going to give this to you, and you see that she gets it. But that's really neat when you're reading about across the state the successes that everybody's having in that field, and to find one of our own in there is special. And those successes are everywhere in the school district. That's why it's a wonderful place. And last, I'm going to end. We're doing something. There's a tremendous amount of attention being applied to our community and community's involvement with the efforts of Fannin County High School this year, and I'm so appreciative for that, Dr. Ramsey. And kind of cool, you want to tell us about the homecoming parade next week?
Yes, sir.
Thursday, we have a homecoming parade. We're gonna start at 6 o'clock, coordinated with the city. We're gonna go down to East Main, down at the end and back up West Main. We're gonna have our football team, our bands, all of our homecoming representatives. We got about 10 floats right now. We've got the elementary schools who are gonna have a float in it, the middle schools, so we're just really trying to tie everything together, throughout the whole school system and, try to get the businesses involved to decorate their windows as you go down through there and stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're excited about it.
Yeah. I am too, and it's great to see that. Bringing that community in, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you're doing on that. Finally, I'm gonna wrap it up. It takes money to run this whole thing, and we've just got a fantastic finance director over here. Just doing a great job, and just signed off on the budget for last year, and we're already over 16% into this year's, and got a SPLOST audit going on right now, and getting ready for the regular state audit. I think those people will be coming in the next little bit.
Very good.
Yeah, can check stuff. So look forward to good results on that. And give finally a little shout out to Denver on those 3 new police cars. If you didn't see them earlier, you can probably see them on our social media or in the newspaper coming up. So that's all I got. I'm just rattling it off tonight. It's past my bedtime. I'm up this late,
See volunteers.
I'll go. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Dale Dyer. He's been a friend of mine for years and years and years, and he said in the newspaper what I've been saying all along. Fannin County schools are great, and I appreciate that from him. I'd like to thank all of our principals for being here tonight, and as well as everybody else. Mr. Young, especially to you. That was a good presentation tonight, and I look forward to a lot of those things that you mentioned coming to fruition, and maybe I'll get to go down there and see what the creek looks like. And Miss Rigdon, totally overwhelmed with the leadership thing. I think that's something, and I know you just came up with it, that's something that this school system's needed for a while, and I think it's great. It really is. And I'm just proud to be here. Now go to sleep.
Mr. Young, thank you so much for your presentation. Thank all y'all principals for, that's a southern term, y'all. Y'all carry a great big load, and if people don't tell you, I'm telling you right now. I love you and I appreciate the load. 2 of you been thrown in not to wade but to swim. Appreciate the job that y'all do. And just want to say I love you. And it's a big deal taking care of the kids. I've had mine go through a couple of you over there, and now she's over here. And I really appreciate the job, the hard work, the heart that y'all show, and give to my baby. So that's important to me, and I know there's a lot of other families that, if they don't appreciate, I'm going to try to appreciate for them. Just let you know how much I care about you. Miss Wynn, you do a great job with the finances and explaining it to a dumb old country boy. So I thank you for those charts that you give me so that I can read it and understand it. And just appreciate you so much. Jim, SROs, the job they do and helping is more than protection. He's given of himself, his time, his knowledge, his love for the kids. And a lot of people don't get to see that. So thank you, Jim, for all that you do. And that's it for me.
Mr. Williams.
I won't try to add to any of that. I'll approve of all of it and support it. But I would like to say that this has been an outstanding, just a really good board meeting.
Amen.
And I think the essence of that is that our kids are the center of everything that happens, the intent of all. So I appreciate that. It's a privilege to be part of that. So that's all I have to say.
hours late. In the interest of time, I'm not going to single anyone out because I could say the same thing about each and every one of you. I so admire your dedication and the excellence that you bring to your job every single day. It's an honor to be associated with a team like you. I'll also say thank you for all the prayers and the encouragement for both me and Ruth. And I will tell you, it's overwhelming. Truly overwhelming. I've had a few people say, well, you know, you look pretty good for the shape you're in. And I said, well, you have no idea how many people are praying for me. So thank you all, and keep up the good work. And I will single out, Mr. Rigdon, this Aspiring Leader program is a game changer. It's a great example of Fannin County stepping up to the plate and dealing with a problem, an issue, and coming up with a wonderful solution. So thank you for that. It's truly a game changer. That's all I have.
I'll say thank you, and I don't want to add to anything they've said either, but I do want to single you out, Mr. Gunn. I appreciate your presentation, and I don't know how many days ago it was, maybe last week sometime, I got to see your team in full force, and for the safety of a kid, and how amazing and how quick that y'all responded, and I appreciate that. That was actually several of our people in here that was there and made that possible, but just your willingness and the quickness that y'all moved, it was very impressive to watch. And I've had this come to me that we definitely want chain of command with our board, as far as people coming through, whatever. If you've got a problem, we want you to follow chain of command. We as a board do want to hear from you. If you have a problem, please tell us. I want you to follow chain of command. If that chain of command lets you down, definitely let us know. We can't fix a problem unless we know about it. So I want to leave that with you tonight. I appreciate public comment. A lot of times we get a dose of it, but that's okay too. I appreciate them being willing to come and speak for their children. So I want to encourage you, if you've got a problem, let it come public comment. That's where you need to air it out. With that, I'll say thank you. It's already been said, we do love you. Y'all are great. You make it easy for us. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Thank y'all.